welcome back to Mountaineer News 2, everybody. And yeah, you can definitely tell that the background is a little bit different here. Well, we're cleaning up the Christmas stuff downstairs, and it's taking a little bit of a long time, so we unfortunately cannot do the predictions at our usual location. But however, we can do the predictions here. And boy, it's time. The 2025-2026 NFL playoffs. So yesterday I uploaded my video on all of the playoff teams. So you could count this video as essentially the part 2 of it, where I actually predict the first wildcard games. And the last video is going to be predictions for who I think will win the Super Bowl. Although I have a feeling I'm going to be very much dead wrong. So without further ado, let us begin. I'm hoping that this video does not take as long as the going over all the teams. The first wild card game, we got the Los Angeles Rams versus the Carolina Panthers. Now, this is a rematch from earlier this year, where the Panthers surprisingly upset the Rams. And now they play each other again. Honestly, this was Carolina's only hope of maybe winning a playoff game, and that is playing the Rams because they've beaten them. But it's very difficult to beat the same team twice. Honestly, there's really nothing special about the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are garbage. This team should not be in the playoffs, and they're really probably just happy to be here. Really, they are just happy to be here. On the other side, you have the Rams, who, despite a very sluggish end of the season with the loss to the Seahawks and Falcons, still has one of the top offenses in the NFL. Matthew Stafford, definitely in contention for MVP still. And overall, this Rams team is very stacked. Now, I think that this game is going to be a little bit closer because of the fact that the Panthers had beaten the Rams and the fact that the Panthers really have nothing to lose here. I think it's going to be close in the first half, but then the Rams are just going to pound them in the second. Give me the Rams to win. Next, we go to an NFC North battle on our hand. We have the Packers versus the Bears. The Green Bay Packers have lost the last 4 games. Ever since their last win against the Bears in Week 14, they have not won a game since. In fact, they've been on a pretty bad streak. Micah Parsons is out for the year. They've lost a lot of players to key injuries. And the only good news for the Packers is that Jordan Love is coming back, which is going to be very beneficial. Meanwhile, Chicago has been on a roll. Yes, they lost the last 2 games, but they did, I think, rest their starters against the Lions, correct me if I'm wrong. And I do believe that Caleb Williams is definitely going to have a chip on his shoulder. Now, the Packers have been in the playoffs in the past 2 seasons, and this is the Bears' first playoff appearance since 2018. So, very iffy-wiffy, to say the least. At first, I thought this game could be a blowout, but given that this is basically round 3 for the division, and considering that this is for all the marbles, and given the fact that it's a playoff game, I think this game is going to be electric. But, in the end, I think the Bears are going to take this one. I just think that the Packers have too many injuries. They're just too weak. Give me Chicago for the win. Next, we go to our first AFC matchup. We have the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Buffalo, the one year where nothing is in Buffalo's path, just so happens to be their worst team. Honestly, I hate to say it, Bills fans, but the window is almost about to close. Your old stadium is gone, and really, this entire team is just carried off of Josh Allen. The defense has not been playing well, although there are some slight hope after that win against after the Philadelphia game. They didn't win against Philadelphia. They just played well on defense, but that was probably more of Kevin Patullo. But really, Allen, I just don't see it happening. Like, Buffalo is too beat up. Their window is closing. Meanwhile, Jacksonville has been on fire as of lately. And with all this momentum going into the playoffs, Trevor Lawrence playing some of the best football of his career, really, Jacksonville is my dark horse to win the Super Bowl. I do think that Buffalo is going to come in with a little bit of a chip on the shoulder given their experience, but I think by the second half, it'll be all Jacksonville. Give me the Jaguars. Then we go to the 4:30 slot game for the NFC wildcard. We have the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. The 49ers, as we all know, have been destroyed by injuries on defense. And their offense only scored 3 points against the Seahawks in a must-win contest for the number 1 seed. Meanwhile, the Eagles have suffered a pretty significant Super Bowl hangover. Like, this is a much worser Eagles team than last year, especially considering that Kevin Patullo is your offensive coordinator, who just might be worse than Matt Canada. You can't get any worse than that. And let's be honest, just nothing really about that Eagles offense could really say, hey, we can help win this game. No, I just don't trust the Eagles offense. Really, I think the 49ers defense is probably so grateful that they have to play the Eagles offense, because Kevin Patullo is probably going to goof it up and makes Nick Sirianni look bad. Meanwhile, the 49ers offense is definitely going to have a challenge against the Eagles defense, because the 49ers offense is also kind of beat up. I think this is going to be a very ugly, very close, low-scoring game, but in the end, I just think that the Eagles' offensive struggles is going to cost them. Eventually, the Eagles' defense will snap, San Francisco will take advantage, and I think the 49ers win, but barely. Give me San Francisco. Then we have our Sunday night primetime matchup. We have the Chargers versus the Patriots. Let's get one thing out of the way. New England, I'm not really sure what to think of New England. I mean, many people have jumped on the Drake May bandwagon, but remember, the Patriots only beat 2 playoff teams, the Bills and the Panthers. And the Panthers one shouldn't even count because the Panthers are garbage. Not disrespecting you Panthers fans. Congratulations on making the playoffs, but still. Really, they've only beaten 1 team, and that was the Bills. And that wasn't even the second matchup. That was the first time when they played each other back in like September or October. Really, this Patriots team is definitely untested. Now, they're going to play the playoff game at home, and they're playing the Chargers. The Chargers have been beat up on the offensive line. Justin Herbert is taking a lot of sacks, and the Chargers really need some confidence going into this game. But honestly, I think the Chargers have the edge here. Because number one, the Chargers have experience. They've been in the playoffs before. Now they lost both playoff games, but it's experience nonetheless. Meanwhile, this is the first time the Patriots have been back to the playoffs since 2021. And honestly, this is a completely different roster. A completely different roster. Personally, I don't really think New England. I think that inexperience is going to cost New England. And I think the Chargers are going to take advantage of this. I think this game is going to be close, but Drake May is going to probably have maybe an interception. Maybe he is not ready for the spotlight. The Chargers will take advantage, and the Chargers will win the game. Give me the Chargers to pull the upset. And lastly, and certainly not least, we have the Houston Texans against my Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got to get off of Cloud 9 right about now. They got to get off of Cloud 9. Because now, they got to play a playoff game. The Steelers are, just as the stereotypes say, they did barely just enough to make it into the playoffs. And, well, most people are saying that they're going to lose in the first round. But this time feels different. This time feels different. Now, the game is going to be in Pittsburgh, which is going to be a huge advantage. But Pittsburgh has definitely been played pretty well on defense against the Ravens. Although our secondary is absolutely bad. Because seriously, how did you get Zay Flowers that open? But the offense knows when to show up when need to be. Even when we look completely dysfunctional. Meanwhile, the Houston Texans are coming in with the number 1 defense in the NFL. Number 1 defense. Their offense, pretty average to say the least. CJ Stroud is still pretty good, don't get me wrong, but still, he's taking as many sacks as Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert. Really, I think this game is going to be close. And I think Pittsburgh has the edge for 2 reasons. Number 1, they're going to slow down that Texans offense. Because the Texans offense is, well, particularly the Texans offensive line is not good. And when Pittsburgh comes in and puts pressure on CJ Stroud, he's going to struggle. Number 2, home field advantage. You know the Pittsburgh Steelers faithful are going to come in, they're going to be waving those terrible towels, and they're going to create as much noise as possible. And with this terrible towel, and the fact that this is CJ Stroud's first time playing in Pittsburgh, he might be overwhelmed by this experience. I think this game is going to be low scoring, and it's going to be ugly. Pittsburgh really needs to do this. Keep playing well on defense, get CJ Stroud contained, and then the offense does barely just enough to win through field goals. That's essentially Pittsburgh's strategy. Win the game ugly. Because of that, and because of the fact that the game is in Pittsburgh, I keep mentioning that, if this game was in Houston, then the Texans would win. But because the game is in Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh may be playing with a chip on their shoulder, I got the Steelers winning. So final picks. Rams, Bears, Jaguars, 49ers, Chargers, and Steelers. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Anywho, I may be posting one more video tomorrow, which will be part 3, and maybe I'll do something a little bit else. Who's to say? Anywho, I'm Mountaineer News 2. Good night. And we'll be back in our old location next video. Or next prediction video, okay.